Thirst for the Cure is a charity event that raises money for a foundation called Restaurants and Rackets. And Restaurants and Rackets is a foundation that helps employees of the restaurant industry who have some sort of crisis or tragedy. You know, when they need money. Typically, people who don't have health insurance. 2009, we were getting ready for an event that we do called Thirst Day, which is our portfolio tasting, annual kind of birthday bash. And I had about 25 vintners say that they would come to the event, and which is pretty big for Oklahoma. And we started thinking, well, this is and that's an event that just takes place for a couple of hours during the day. And we thought, wouldn't it be nice to be able to do also an event in the evening, maybe raise money for a charity? And quickly, on the fly, we figured out that, you know, if you do something for Susan G. Komen or one of these other, you know, very great, very good charities, there's a lot of paperwork and lead time involved. So it didn't really work for us. And then I heard that there was someone who's associated with Oak Tree Country Club who had just been diagnosed with stage 4 leukemia and had some pretty big bills associated with that. And we thought, well, maybe this would work. We could help someone who's in the restaurant club industry, which is those are the accounts that we call on. We thought it would be a nice fit, and we already had the room rented, the glassware, the tablecloths. We had basically all the costs covered for the event, and it just seemed like a nice add-on, and it worked out really well. And so we decided now that there's a foundation with an actual committee, they decided they would want to do it again this year. This year's recipient is a guy named Julio Fuentes, who's worked at La Baguette Bistro on May Avenue for 10 or 12 years, but in the back of the house, in the kitchen. And Julio had double kidney failure last year or the year before, and then after having been on the waiting list for a while, he got a kidney transplant last year. His body eventually rejected that kidney, and he just recently had his second kidney transplant, that he got a kidney from his brother-in-law. And his family, Julio has no health insurance. His family, they sold their home, they've sold almost all their possessions to raise the money for the surgery that they paid for themselves. And so this year's event, he's sort of the poster child of the event and will receive the bulk of the funds, although the foundation has an account in which all year long funds are raised and they can be paid out to other recipients throughout the year. So far, the process for getting a recipient has been a lot of word of mouth. Has been pretty informal, but up to this point. And so you hear from people that you know these sort of very moving stories of people suffering with things that are pretty bad. And so it hasn't been hard to find someone who seems deserving and seems rather urgent. But now we actually have a process, an application process, kind of like a scholarship, where anyone in the restaurant or the club industry, this is really for independent restaurants and clubs who typically don't provide their employees with health insurance, they can nominate someone within their organization, and it doesn't have to be an employee, it could be a family member of an employee for that matter, but someone in their family or organization who is in need. And then the committee will decide on sort of, who gets money, how much, when it's dispensed, and all that kind of thing. We have a very collaborative kind of nature to the restaurant industry in Oklahoma City that I know a lot of people are surprised. A lot of people who don't live in Oklahoma City are surprised to see how kind of tight and chummy some of the restaurants are. So when we told them, anytime I've mentioned it to any restaurant, hey, this is what we're doing and here's what it's for, they've been on board. We've actually had to kind of say thanks but no thanks to a couple of them in terms of who was going to bring food to the event, and they've been very nice and gracious and still donated auction items for us. The event is Tuesday, September the 14th, and it goes from 6:30 to 9. It is at the Jim Thorpe Museum and Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, and if you've not been there yet, it is a really cool, beautiful new museum and event center. Will be up on the second floor. It's plenty of free parking down there. Tickets are $75, and that covers everything, just $75 straight. There's no other fees associated with that. And they can be purchased at thirstwine.com.